politician, complete underdog, and surprisingly, actually, he's doing really well.
He's a serious person. He's smart and he cares.
The Tesla CEO tweeted his support for the venture capitalist on Saturday.
Gang, gang, gang.
Andrew Yang is polling above 2 senators and 1 governor.
He's actually higher in the polls. He's like this outlier. He's 44, you know, the guy with the cap that said math.
You're raising issues that nobody else is talking about, and you're looking at it from a...
He proudly says that 5,000 people stop there every day. How many people will stop there every day if the trucks no longer have drivers? Clinton, we're in the midst of the greatest economic transformation in the history of our country, what experts are calling the fourth industrial revolution. Chances are this is the first time you've heard a politician even say the words fourth industrial revolution. And I'm barely a politician. We're in the third inning of this transformation, and it's about to speed up. Because the technology is getting stronger and smarter and faster, and we, as human beings, feel lucky just to stay about the same. I mean, our kids are getting smarter, but the rest of us are hoping just not to get dumber. But that's not what's going on with the tech. The tech is ramping up really, really quickly. So after I determined, okay, we lose to Trump because we blasted away these millions of manufacturing jobs in the swing states. We're about to do the same thing to the most common jobs in the economy. We're scapegoating immigrants for problems immigrants have very little to do with. If you go to a factory in Michigan, you do not find wall-to-wall immigrants. What do you find? Wall-to-wall robot arms and machines doing the work that people used to do. So I went to our leaders in DC and I asked them, what are we going to do to help our people manage this transition? And what do you think the folks in DC said to me when I said, what are we going to do? Who cares? Who are you? I know, that's true. Well, thanks to you all, they know who I am now. The things they said to me were, number one, Andrew, we cannot talk about this. Number two, Andrew, we should study this. Or number three, Andrew, this will be familiar. We must educate and retrain all Americans for the jobs of the future. Raise your hand if you've heard that. That seems very familiar, right? But Clinton, I'm the numbers guy. I took a look at the studies. Do you all want to guess how effective the government-funded retraining programs were for the manufacturing workers who lost their jobs in the Midwest? 3%. You know it's low because I'm anchoring you low. But you also know it's low because you know people. You know if you lay off hundreds of manufacturing workers, they don't all march off outside and be like, I'm here for my coding retraining program. I'll be coding the OTOP. I mean, that's not reality. That's not human nature. The reality is that almost half of the manufacturing workers who lost their jobs in the Midwest left the workforce and didn't work again. Of that group, almost half filed for disability. We then saw surges in suicides and drug overdoses in these communities to the point where our life expectancy as a country has now declined for the last 3 years in a row. You know the last time America's life expectancy declined 2 years in a row? The Spanish flu of 1918. That's right, a global pandemic a century ago. You have to go back 100 years because it's highly unusual for life expectancy to decline in a developed country. Ordinarily goes up and up because you're getting richer, stronger, healthier, right? That's the pattern you'd expect. But here in the US, it's gone down and down and down. And when I said this to the folks in DC, one of them said something that brought me here to you all tonight in Clinton. He said, Andrew, you're in the wrong town. Because here in DC, we never do anything about this. We are a town of followers, not leaders. I know, isn't this great? I'm so glad I had someone with me for this little speech of this guy's, because it was like a movie supervillain speech. But it was a DC lobbyist. I guess they're like cousins or something. So he said, we would never do anything about this because fundamentally we are a town of followers, not leaders. And the only way we would do something about it is if you were to create a wave in other parts of the country and bring that wave crashing down on our heads here in DC. And I said, challenge accepted. I'll be back with the wave in 2 years. 2 years is on Monday. I stand before you tonight, fourth in the polls and rising to be the Democratic nominee. $16.5 million last quarter in increments of only $35 each. So my fans are almost as cheap as Bernie's. But there is no corporate PAC money in there. This is just an uprising of the people putting in in 10, 20 bucks to try and take our government back to work for us again. Because who's it working for right now? The companies, the special interests, the lobbyists that have been running that town for far too long. Today, Washington, D.C. is the richest city in our country. Think about that for a second. What do they produce? None of us quite knows. And yet business is awfully good. Donald Trump wanted to drain the swamp. I want to do something a little bit different. I want to distribute the swamp. Why would you employ hundreds of thousands of government workers in the most expensive city in your country? Why wouldn't you move some of those jobs to Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin, Iowa? You would save billions of dollars immediately. And I would argue those government agencies would make better decisions because they were living someplace normal and not in a DC bubble where they just talk to each other all the time. Term limits for members of Congress. They do your work and then want to come home. They should not head over there and say, ooh, I like it, let me stay. And I'll tell you, I know how we can get it passed. I'll be your president a year from now. Thank you, Clinton. And then I will go to Congress and say, hey, we need 12-year term limits for all members of Congress, both houses. But current lawmakers are exempt. Do you think they'll pass that? Oh, they would pass that the next day. They would say, we do this for the American people. Because they're exempt. They'd be walking around being like, I can stay. But then eventually they too would lose, and then you'd have a legislature that actually is much more dynamic and responsive to what we want, and they're not just career legislators trying to make a life for themselves in DC. These are the kinds of common sense changes that could actually make us feel like our government is working for us, but that's not enough to actually improve your way of life. What we have to do is we have to get all this value that's leaving your community and bring it back to you. Now, I know if you're here tonight, you've heard my flagship proposal is to give every American adult $1,000 a month. Raise your hand if that seems too good to be true, not going to happen, unrealistic. Go ahead, raise your hand. Oh, sure, I understand. But it's not my idea and it's not a new idea. Thomas Paine was for this at the founding of our country. He called it the citizens' dividend. Martin Luther King, whose birthday we celebrated last week, was fighting for this in the 60s, the guaranteed minimum income. It is what he was fighting for when he was killed in 1968. I know this in part because I met with his son in Atlanta, and he said this is what his father was fighting for. It was so mainstream in the 60s that 1,000 economists, including Milton Friedman, one of the godfathers of modern economic thought, endorsed this plan, and it passed the U.S. House of Representatives twice in 1971 under Richard Nixon. The Family Assistance Plan would have guaranteed an income floor for all American households. And then 11 years later, one state actually passed a dividend where now everyone in that state gets between whoa. I was going to make a Russian joke. Nice to see where this goes. So in the early 80s, one state actually passed a dividend where now everyone in that state gets between $1,000 and $2,000 a year. No questions asked. And what state is that? Alaska. And how does Alaska pay for it? Oil. And what is the oil of the 21st century? Data, technology, AI, self-driving cars and trucks. A new study that just came out that said that our data, your data, is now worth more than oil. Raise your hand if you saw that study. Raise your hand if you got your data check in the mail last month. And your data, in our data, your data is now worth more than oil and is worth billions of dollars a year, and you are not seeing a dime of that, then where's all that money going? It's going to Facebook, Amazon, Google, Apple, and the trillion-dollar companies that are paying nothing or next to nothing back into our country. So Clinton, what we have to do is we have to get this value that is leaving your community and bring it back to you in the form of this dividend of $1,000 a month. I have done the math. If we give you your tiny fair share of every Amazon sale, every Google search, every Facebook ad, eventually every robot truck mile and AI work unit, we can easily afford $1,000 a month for everyone here, everyone in Iowa, everyone around the country. Particularly because when this money is in your hands, where will it actually go? How much of it will be spent right here in Iowa? Most of it. Not all of it. You might get your own Netflix password instead of sharing that one. But most of it would go to car repairs you've been putting off, and daycare expenses, and Little League signups, and local nonprofits, and religious organizations. Clinton, this is the trickle-up economy. From our people, our families, and our communities up. This is how we actually rebalance our economy between rural towns that are getting sucked dry and the biggest of cities, and give our kids a real path forward. Raise your hand if you're a parent like me and Emily. I've got 2 boys who are 7 and 4, so I miss them being at that age. If you're a parent, you have had this sinking feeling that our kids are inheriting a future that is less bright, less stable, and less secure than the lives that we have lived. And the reason we feel that way is because it is that way. If you were born in the 1940s in the United States of America, there was a 93% chance you were going to do better than your parents did. That's the American dream. That's what brought my family here. That's what we aspire to for our kids. But if you were born in the 1990s in this country, you're down to a 50-50 shot, and it's declining fast. That's why the parents feel the way we do. That's why our young people feel like the deck is stacked against them. That's why it feels like this economy is not working for us anymore. It's all true. That is what you all have to change. Imagine a country where we could actually look our kids in the eyes and say, your country loves you, your country values you, and your country will invest in you and your future. That is what we can make real on February 3rd. Winner-take-all economy in the history of the world is about to get even more extreme. What I'm talking about is the only kind of move you could make that would actually rebalance it on behalf of people. Other than that, we're in a race that more and more of us are going to lose. And we're going to lose even more if we continue to be confused that economic value and human value are the same things. They are not the same things. What we have to say on February 3rd so the rest of the country can hear it is that we all have intrinsic value as Americans, as citizens, and as shareholders of the richest country in the history of the world. We're getting all these messages all the time about how great things are in the United States. Record high stock market prices, record high corporate profits, record high GDP, record low unemployment. And once again, you have the sinking feeling that things are not great where you live, in your family, in your town, in your community. And once again, you are right. Corporate profits are at record highs in the United States right now. What else are at record highs in the United States right now? Financial insecurity, student loan debt, healthcare bankruptcies, stress, suicide, depression, drug abuse. You know what record lows in this country right now? Starting a business for a young person, getting married, having a kid. All of the hallmarks of a good life, a thriving society, are at record lows, even as corporate profits go higher and higher. Our measurements are leading us off a cliff. And I know how wrong the measurements are, in part because of my own family. My wife most days is at home with our 2 boys, one of whom is autistic. How much is her work valued at in our economic measurements? 0. Everyone gets a 0, as does every stay-at-home parent in our country. How about caregivers trying to take care of an ailing loved one? That's also a 0. People like Kyle Christensen in Iowa Falls taking care of his mom who's recovering from cancer. How about volunteers and activists trying to do something positive? That's a 0. Most coaches and mentors trying to invest in our kids, the next generation. 95% of artists. You know one thing that we don't think a lot about, Clinton, but it's crucial. How about local journalists? We have put almost 2,000 local newspapers out of business over the last number of years because all of their advertising revenue went up to the cloud. It's not enough to run a paper. So now we have 200 counties in the U.S. that don't have any local news. What doesn't work very well if you don't have local news? Democracy, because how the heck can you vote on what's going on in your community if no one's covering what's going on in your community? Clinton, these are the things we're supposed to value most in our lives. Our children, our families, our community, our democracy, and they're getting zeroed out one by one by one. And they're getting zeroed out because we've allowed the market to run over all of us. And it's time to retake this economy and say we don't work for the economy works for us and our families. So this vision of a trickle-up economy that works for us is what took someone from complete anonymity a year ago to now on the cusp of the White House, having outcompeted half a dozen sitting senators, governors, members of Congress, because we sense that the solutions we need are not going to come out of DC. They're going to come from the people, from us retaking the government and rewriting the rules of the 21st century economy so that they will work for us and our families and our towns. I'm not running for president of the United States because I dreamt about being president of the United States. Trust me when I say these were not the conversations in the Yang household. My parents were not like, you're going to be president someday. They were more likely to say, you're terrible, clean your room. I'm running for president because I'm a parent, like so many of you here tonight. I've seen the future that lies ahead for our kids, and they deserve better. I want to give them better, but I need your help on February 3rd. Campaigning here in Iowa, because if we talked about this in any other place at any other time, we would look up and say, I'm not sure if we can make this happen in America today, but you all can make this happen in America, because where you go, the rest of the country will follow. It's beautiful, Iowa. Donald Trump is our president today because he had a very clear message for the American people. He said he was going to make America great again. What did Hillary Clinton say in response?
It's already great.
America's already great. Remember that, Clinton? It's been a long 3 years, I know. But it's now coming to an end. That response did not work for many Americans because the problems in our communities are real. We have to acknowledge their depth and severity, but then we need real solutions that will move us forward. And to me, the Democratic Party has made a huge mistake by acting like Donald Trump is the cause of all of our problems. He's not. He's a symptom of a disease that has been building up for years, and it is up to us, Iowa, to cure the disease. So Donald Trump did point out many of the problems that exist, but his solutions were the opposite of what we need. What were his solutions? Build a wall, turn the clock back, bring the old jobs back. Clinton, we have to do the opposite. We have to turn the clock forward. We have to accelerate our economy and society to rise to the real challenges of the 21st century, like climate change. We have to evolve in the way we see ourselves and our work and our value. I am the ideal candidate for this job because the opposite of Donald Trump is an Asian man who likes math. Thank you all so much.
as a mother who raised her kids on welfare when they were young, thinking about getting $8,000 a month, and as soon as you get an income other than what they were giving you, they started taking away benefits. How are you going to fix that?
That is such a common issue and complaint people have about our current, what's called means-tested programs. Means-tested means if you make above a certain amount, your benefits go down. And families hate it, Americans hate it. This dividend, you get it, and then if you decide to make some money on top of it, you get that too. Then all of our incentives are aligned, and we're not putting Americans in a situation where we're discouraging them from trying to work or do something positive. I've talked to families who are so frustrated with this because they're getting various benefits for their kids under certain programs that exist, but then they say, if I make above a certain amount, like the benefits go down, and so I'm very much discouraged from getting that part-time job, from doing this, from doing that. Americans don't want that, families don't want that, I don't want that. And one of the reasons I love this dividend so much is it can do away with that negative effect of our current means-tested program by just giving the $1,000 unconditional. Anything else you get stacks on top of it. And for people who are on fixed income and Social Security, it stacks on top of Social Security too. Because the fact is you can't retire in Social Security. We have a retirement crisis that's building, and the retirement crisis is just going to get worse and worse as different people age. I mean, you think that current generations have it tough, and you do have it tough. But it's going to get even worse because the younger people now aren't saving anything for retirement. So we need to make very, very big changes unless we want a country where people are literally like old, poor, and dying in poverty in very, very terrible circumstances.
I just wanted to ask about climate change and how you see climate change affecting our economic system for the future. Because things have to be different.
Things have to be different. Raise your hand if you're concerned about climate change. Oh yeah, it's the biggest threat to our way of life. Now, I get frustrated when politicians talk about wanting to prevent climate change. Why do I find that frustrating? It's already here. We're already on the curve. You saw the floods. The last 4 years have been the 4 warmest years in recorded history. You saw the Australian wildfire. I mean, those images were horrific. It's like science fiction movies come to life. So we have to acknowledge that we're on the curve, and then we have to incorporate the cost of climate change into just about everything we do. Now, the first thing I will say is this. In a country where 78% of us are living paycheck to paycheck, and almost half of us can't afford an unexpected $500 bill, what's a natural response when I show up and say, hey, we need to fight climate change? They're like, I'm worried about making next month's rent. Like next year, 10 years from now, I can wait in line. So first we have to get the boot off of people's throats and let them know that their future is secure, their kids' future is secure, and then they'll be like, oh, maybe I should be worried about these bigger problems that are coming down the pipe. So that's a relatively straightforward fix. The second thing we have to do is incorporate the true cost of climate change into our way of doing business. If you had to put a dollar price tag on climate change, what would it be? And keep in mind our current economy is $21 trillion a year. So the cost of climate change would be approximately, it would be tens of trillions of dollars over time, that's right. Because you're looking at this over like a time scale, it would be immense, tens of trillions of dollars, and unfortunately thousands and thousands of American lives. So when you put it in that context, you realize that doing nothing is actually incredibly expensive. And spending hundreds of billions of dollars on making our infrastructure safer and more secure, protecting our communities, building an embankment on a river is a lot cheaper than having to repair the town after the river floods. So we have to start investing right now and not leave our towns and communities to fend for themselves, because the impacts are already here. The wildfires in the west, the floods here, the dying shrimping and lobster businesses in New Hampshire, like it's already here. And all of these towns are suffering, and we're not really responding to it as a national problem. So we have to start saying this is a nation-scale problem, start investing hundreds of billions of dollars. It will save us money. The toughest truth about fighting climate change is that the United States of America is approximately 15% of of global emissions. What's going on with the other 85%? China is going to Africa and saying, I've got a coal-burning power plant for you. And then what does the African government say? Great, I just want energy, cheap energy, great. Like, I don't care if it's dirty, clean, I don't really like factor in that stuff. So what do we have to do to change that calculation on the part of that African government? We have to be at that table and say, don't take the coal-burning power plant, take these solar panels, and we will subsidize them. That's the direction we have to lead the rest of the world as quickly as possible, while also acknowledging that we're on this curve and we need to start investing right now in ways that make our people and communities stronger, safer, more resilient, more adaptive.
What comments do you have on the current state of infrastructure in our country? And what are your thoughts on building or bringing in high-speed rail and diversifying our transportation sector?
I love these questions so much. I thought at least Trump would give us some infrastructure, you know what I mean? I thought at least he'd want to put his name on stuff. You know? I thought you'd at least have like Trump Bridge, Trump Highway, Trump everything. But he didn't. Our infrastructure has gone from being behind the curve to dangerously neglected. Our own engineering corps gave us a D, and they said that in order to modernize our infrastructure, it would cost hundreds of billions of dollars. I think the number was $4 trillion. And we should invest that money because infrastructure has very, very positive economic effects. It's the kind of thing where if you put in the money, it will pay for itself over time. You mentioned high-speed rail. I love high-speed trains. There are, unfortunately, a relatively limited number of corridors in the US that make sense for high-speed rail. But to the extent that there's in any area that it does make sense, we should invest in it. I visit Asia periodically, and you can go on a particular high-speed rail, the equivalent of a 4.5-hour drive in like 80 minutes. It like bends space and time, it's wild. You know, you sit there, you feel like you're riding a spaceship. And it does make you feel like, how the heck is this possible in this country that's not as rich as the United States, but the United States can't get its act together to make a train that's half as fast, or half as cool, honestly. Cool. And that's a great frustration for me, and I think for many Americans, that the United States used to be exceptional at building things, and we've become really terrible at it over the last number of years. As your president, I would commit to making us excellent at building things again. And here's one way I would do it. I would invest in technical, vocational, and trade programs around the country at the high school level. Because only 6% of our high school kids are in those programs right now. In Germany, that's 59%. Think about that gulf. We've been underinvesting in people who can actually make stuff and build stuff for decades, and we need to catch up. I will team up with Mike Rowe of Dirty Jobs, and we'll have an awareness campaign saying these jobs are awesome. That's a better fit than college. We should stop pretending that all of our kids are going to go to college. They're not. We need to have more paths for people for whom the trades, vocations are a better fit, and we have a massive need for those workers, and we need to rebuild the country. Thanks, Landra. So to me, the key question is this. If 75% of Americans are against war with Iran, why were we at the cusp of war with Iran? And it's because Congress has given up its constitutional authority to declare war to the executive branch for the last 19 years and counting. And so we've been in this constant state of armed conflict that's solely guided by the executive branch. So as your president, I would tear up the AUMF and say, look, the Constitution says it should be for Congress to declare war, and that's where the power should be. quote from a senior UK official which said it all. He said, the purpose of having allies I think she said duck, duck, goose. So this UK official said something I thought was very, very apt. He said the purpose of having allies is so we can surprise our enemies, not each other. And that's exactly where we don't want to be as a country. I would rebuild our partnerships and alliances so that our allies know that we're actually good to our commitments. We're not going to make abrupt decisions without consulting with them and pull the rug out from under them. It was James Mattis, our Secretary of Defense, who said the more you invest in diplomacy, the less you have to spend on ammunition. And that is exactly where we should be headed. We're spending $700 billion a year on our military-industrial complex, $6 trillion plus in the Middle East, thousands of American lives destroyed. I met with hundreds of veterans who come home who are struggling with health, injuries, PTSD, finding a path forward. And for what? Like, we need to be investing those resources closer to home and rebuild our partnerships and alliances so we're not going it alone anymore. That's where I would lead on our foreign policy.
Regulations in food and agriculture all too often burden small-scale producers, while allowing largest operators, who typically cause the problems in food safety, to continue doing business pretty much as usual. How would you support scale-sensitive regulations that address true risks while taking the scale of operations into account?
I love this question so much because we know that small farmers are getting squeezed out in so many ways. The playing field is completely uneven. And to the extent there are regulations, you know that the big producers had lobbyists who went in there and said, hey, do this. And then the small farmer's like, what the heck is going on? Like, I'm supposed to do what now? And these rules have become this overbearing bureaucracy that's actually keeping small farmers from making changes or innovating or becoming more efficient or do things they want to do to help advance their livelihood. We made it, and to me what's happened in agriculture in this country mirrors what's happened in business writ large, which what's happened is like the big businesses running over the little guys. So I would be 100% for scale-sensitive regulations. I would love to have a very, very light footprint when it comes to small farms. I think small farms should be where the innovation in agriculture should be happening. And we should be putting tax incentives in place so that if you can raise food that's healthier, more organically produced, and then you can source it to, let's say, local schools, we should have pipelines so that also the big distribution companies can't nickel and dime you and not disclose what they're paying other people. Because right now, they're like pitting the farmers against each other and saying like, hey, we're gonna give you this deal, but you don't even know what the accurate price is. So I'm for the legislation that would actually make it so small farmers don't get exploited at every turn by these big companies that have more information than the small farmers do. But I love this question so much. I think what we're doing to our food supply is having massive effects throughout the country in different ways, and many of them are not very positive. I think a lot of it is a result of the industrial scale farming that has now taken over everything. And we need to move towards different practices that are more regenerative, more sustainable, more friendly. And to me, it's got to be small farm. We have to make it possible to be a small farmer in this country. Because the fact is, you can't be a developed country that can't feed yourself. So we need to be supportive of people that are making sure that we can feed ourselves, particularly people who can help us feed ourselves and our kids in healthier ways. I'm a parent, very passionate about it. Like, it's like, you try and have your kids eat healthy, but then it feels impossible a lot of the time because you're just out there. Plus, my younger son loves McDonald's to death. He calls it Old McDonald. We run in there. And I actually grew up at McDonald's too, so I'm like, sure, let's go to Old McDonald's. All right. Thank you very much.
All right, stream. We gotta have a deep talk stream. Hello. They are publishing fake news to try to say that Yang is like ending his campaign and telling his supporters to go to Bernie. So everyone should go on this article right now, on this tweet from Time, and just tell them how you feel, like these folks have. And basically the source of it all is this dumb article from Bloomberg where they try to say his supporters may go to Sanders. And then other outlets are now running with it to try to say this guy who literally said a few weeks ago that he expects to be viable in nearly every precinct. And then you got the Sanders surrogates jumping on it. Like, let's look here. Like Ro Khanna saying, "Thank you, Andrew Yang, for your voice on so many important issues and the respect you and your supporters have shown for at Bernie Sanders." Then they paste the article. And then this one's even worse. Andrew Yang said he won't be surprised if his voters end up supporting Bernie Sanders in later rounds of the Iowa caucus voting, a development that could strengthen Sanders' already surging campaign in the state. I, for one, welcome the Yang gang. I think, see, this type of shit annoys me. Because, like, we're, 4 or 5 days out from voting? And they're just trying to run these... Does this guy over here look like he's given up? Does the guy who's doing 4 or 5 town halls a day and tons of press and news media interviews look like he's trying to concede a race? It doesn't seem like it. When he's campaigning, when he's sick, does that sound like when he said literally last week, I expect to be viable in nearly every precinct, and he's drawing 400, 500 person crowds, and he's going to have a rally in Des Moines on Saturday that's probably going to have over 1,000 people. Does that sound like someone who's ready to not be viable in the caucus? Like, just let this type of stuff motivate you even more to go out and phone bank and donate and text bank, because the media's never been on our side, and they're never going to be on our side. And it makes me mad, so I'm telling them about my feelings on live stream, because this is what I've been looking at the past number of, 30 minutes. This is all I can think about. And it annoys me. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. But right now I'm going to leave this camera here and go think about my next steps while you guys think about just moving forward. I'm not going to do something like that. I'm going to try to talk to him about it, though usually that's not my place. Thank you, Roselle, for the $10 donation. Andrew Yang. Thank you, Samuel, for the $4 donation. Thank you, Ruby, for the $20.20 donation. Thank you, Daniel, for the $50 donation. Thank you, Ben, for the $25 donation. Thank you, Pranav, for the $2,020 and donation to Andrew Yang. You are awesome, Pranav. Thank you, Michael, for the $25 donation. Thank you, Susie, for the $10 donation. Thank you, Renee, for the $1 donation. Thank you, Anna, for the $10 donation. Thank you, Traylon, for the $100 donation. Thank you, David, for the $5 donation. Thank you, Cedric, for the $8.88 donation. Thank you, Christopher, for the $1 donation. Thank you, Sean, for the $3 donation. Thank you, Jose, for the $10 donation. Thank you, Zach, for the $10 donation. Thank you, Zen, for the $25 donation. Thank you, Jeffrey, for the $10 donation. Thank you, Barbara, for the $5 donation. Thank you, Brandon, for the $8.88 donation. Thank you, Judy, for the $20.20 donation. Thank you, Julius, for the $5 donation. Thank you, Michael, for the $10 donation. Johnny with the 10. Penny with the $1.88. Shu Hong with the $5 donation. Charles with the $10 donation. Michael with the $10 donation. Cameron with the 25. Yana with the 9. Eddie with the 25. Jason with the 25. Christina with the 5. Kathleen donating again with the 10. Gabriel with the 15. Tuan with the 5. Shai Sheng again with the 5. Alec with the 5. Richard with the 5. Scott with the 10. Hugh with the 10. Andre with the 10. Alexander with the 5. Sol with the 5. No, Alexandra with the 50. Alexandra is one of my patrons. Thank you so much, Alexandra, for the $50 donation. Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com. Thank you, Wilson, for the 5. Tao with the 210. Tao with the 2 again. Jaron with the 1. Bo with the 30. Deanna with the 5. Delgo with the $1.68. Israel with the 420. Mark with the $25 donation. Tim again with the $5 donation. Anthony with the 5. Sonia with the 25. Rocky with the 50. Jose with the 10. Jason with the 24.12. Luis with the 10. Angela with the 10. Gordon with the 5.15. Julie with the 100. Charles with the 30. Chow with the 25. David with the $35 donation. Douglas with the $1,000 donation to Andrew Yang. Oh, am I in the way of their selfie? Oh. Chris with the 5. Daniel, no, Iban with the 5. Gordon with the 30. Chris with the 5. Daniel with the 36. Valerie with the 15. Maria with the 25. Ivy with the 25. Ebel with the 10. Colleen with the 10. Robert with the 10. Kang with the 10. Julia with the 10. Jesse with the $1.80 or the $8.88. And I think that catches us up. Robert with the 100. Aisha with the 25. Aisha again with the 5. Ameline with another donation of $5. And I think that actually does catch us up. Oh wait, new donations are pouring in. Oh, a new $5 patron. Joe, thank you so much. Blong with the love. Did I get Samuel and Roselle with the 4 and the 10? I think so. Blong, lovely last name, with the $100 donation to Andrew Yang. Kong with the $25 donation to Andrew Yang. Gregory with the $5 donation to Andrew Yang. Jorge with the $5 donation. Will with the $5 donation. Denny with the Denny with the $100 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com. Was our FPS lagging? Oops. Donate, 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 donate. If you think the Times article is trash, then donate. Everyone who donated, you all are amazing. You are what is going to fuel us in this campaign through Iowa, through New Hampshire, through Nevada, through South Carolina, all the way into Super Tuesday. And we are going to win the whole thing because of people like you. Thank you, Nate, for the $5 donation, Andrew Yang. Thank you, Amir, for the $6 donation, Andrew Yang. Thank you, Sergio, for the $10 donation, Andrew Yang. Thank you, Jason, for the $5 donation to Andrew Yang. Thank you, Tyler, with the $10 donation to Andrew Yang. Okay, since Andrew's about to finish up here, there's about 15 people left in the selfie line. Let me make sure I have my shout-outs right. Pranav is definitely getting a shout-out. Pranav with the $2,020 donation because he saw that Times article and he was like, you know what? I've had enough. I'm going to give everything I have to this campaign. And that's exactly what we should all do with the time that we have left. And that's going to be a lot of time because we're in it to win it, baby. And then Douglas donated $1,000 to Andrew Yang's campaign today. Douglas will be receiving a shout out for the $1,000 donation to Andrew Yang. Thank you, Dow, for the $100 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Brian, for the $10 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Joseph, for the $20 20-cent donation to the man, the myth, the legend, Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Joseph. Did I already say Joseph for the $20 20-cent donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com? Thank you, Jacob, for the $5 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com. Thank you, John, with the lovely last name. Sounds similar to an Andrew Yang, for the $10 donation to Andrew Yang. Or maybe it's John Yang. Does MSNBC know? I don't even think they know. Thank you, Ruth, for the $1.08 donation. Go to johnyang2020.com to learn more. Or go to the yanggame.com and donate right now through the yanggame.com. Let me go on the Internal Act Blue page and see what's popping. I was just going off emails. The selfie line is closing. Eliza is in the selfie line. There she is. Look, it's Eliza in the selfie line. Let's go back to this. Sorry. Had a moment. Yang, gang, yang, gang, yang, gang. Thank you, Heather, for the $25 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com. Thank you, Samuel, for the $10 donation. Thank you, Alan. Alan's back with the $69 donation. Ross just donated $150 to Andrew Yang. Oh, I gotta fix my frame rate so when I do these shout outs that they don't mess up. Thank you, Ross, for the $150 donation to Andrew Yang. We are gonna win the whole thing. Thank you, Karen, for the $7.11 donation to Andrew Yang. I think I already said Jacob, but Jacob with the $5 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com. We are raising tons of money right now because we are upset that the Times article, you know what, Kai? What? This Time article has upset the Yang Gang so much.
Oh, what? I saw that just. What was that?
I showed it to you.
Yeah, you were the one that showed it to me.
Yeah.
What was that?
Basically, they're taking. Anyways, sorry, I was sharing inside info. If you would like to know the inside info, if anyone maxes out right now $2,800 on stream, I'll tell you exactly what I just told Kai. Thank you, Mary, for the $50 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com. No, but some guy was so mad that right after I told them about it and I showed him the tweets and I was like, guys, like respond to this and be like, just tell him how you feel. Some guy donated $2,020. That's how he felt. He was like, I've had enough of this media crap, calling us John Yang. Not to me, but to him.
You're Zach?
Matt.
No, that's right? Yeah, Christian. Say hi. Love your show, man.
Yeah. Oh, hold up. I gotta film. Eliza's having a moment.
Osmo, huh?
Yeah.
I sold my Osmo about a year ago.
Wait till you see our setup, because Ted's coming here to Iowa on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Like, we're gonna look. It's gonna be good. That's all I can say.
I'll take a quick Snapchat.
How does Eliza get like an hour?
Yeah, I got you.
How'd you get like 3 years with him?
Because he asked me questions.
Of course.
Wait.
Can you thank Pranav for the $2,020 donation? Pranav.
Pranav, what's up? Thank you, you secret
Wait, let's get out of
baller.
the selfie one. Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to step on your foot.
Pranav, what's up? Thank you, you secret baller, for making it rain. $2,000. You're legit.
2020.
2020. I apologize. No, get in it. Okay. We got Sweaty Gang in the house. Hey. And all I gotta say is, you're the GOAT, you're the real MVP. Thank you for being the baller that I wish I was, but I'm just not. But shout out to the Lakers. We got love for you, LA, and what else?
Thank you. Renee for the $1 donation, Andrew Yang. Thank you, Adrian, for the $1 donation, Andrew Yang. Thank you, Ruby, for the $8 donation, Andrew Yang. Thank you, George, for the $4.20 donation, Andrew Yang. Thank you, Alexander, for the $25 donation, Andrew Yang. Thank you, Aaron, for the $7 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com. Let's see how much we've raised just during this stream. Oh, I'm awful on the camera. Kai's a natural. Oh, wow. It looks like we're really close. We're really close. We're really close to our $3,500 donation goal for the stream.
They said your glasses.
Oh, they did? Because they don't know my
Adrian says she just donated the last dollar in her bank account.
Hey, shout out to Across Canada for always commenting on all of our streams.
Yeah,
I
Across
always see
Canada.
Across Canada.
Everyone knows Across Canada.
Yeah, Across Canada's a G. I love Across Canada.
Me too. Except I removed his mod. I gotta make sure I get him.
Wait, who's got the longest arms now? You know, go ahead, Kai. You know how to, okay. Okay, hold on. Hold up.
Oh, it looks like we just might have hit the $3,500 goal.
Get in. You're no Kai.
That's awesome.
I got it. It's approved. It's approved. Okay. Hold on, and I just added the extra little sauce on it. Don't worry, I got it. Hold on, we need to check on
Thank you, Wilfredo, for the $10 donation, Andrew Yang. Thank you, Joseph, for the $42 donation, Andrew Yang. Thank you, Stephanie, for the $10 donation, Andrew Yang, through the yanggame.com. Yeah, I'm gonna get him to. I'm gonna get him to do it. Don't worry about it. I have to do 2 other things too, as well. Okay. The bar for getting the shout-outs over, because I need to get Andrew's attention real quick. Let me go around. We'll sneak around. And make sure we get the shout-outs, and then I have to get something signed. Thank you, Shuhan, for the $5 donation to Andrew Yang.
I gotta take him, man. I'm sorry. Thank you. Who we
Could I get a shout out for Pranav and Douglas? Pranav donated $2,020 and Douglas $1,000.
Pranav and Douglas, holy cow, you guys know we're right at the precipice of voting time and you want to help us win on February 3rd. Love the generosity and support and belief. Let's win it for you all.
Thank you guys.
Pranav, thank
See
you,
ya.
Douglas.
And then this I didn't want to draw. Are we leaving?
Well, we can stay here and hang out.
But that's usually what I do on the last event of the day. I take my time getting the hell out of the place.
Let's go. Are you still live streaming?
Yeah. I just got my shoutouts. Hold up. So, did we hit the 3,500? I think we did. Thank you, Dash, with again another lovely last name. Another lovely last name for the $50 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com. Thank you, Raymond, for the $46 donation. Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com.
Woo, woo. I feel bad turning on by myself. It's kind of, doesn't have the same.
I'm about to raise us more money. I gotta send out a tweet. Not me, but campaign.
Well, I need to raise me some food in my bed.
Yeah, we're about to go eat.
Do you need help? That's it. Are you good? Do you need help? Why don't I feel like yeah, take care.
Money and passion talks. If the fake Times article
Do you want me to roll any of that stuff? The stuff that's like over there, the other kind?
if the fake Times article annoys you.
Wait, you said no. You said no. Okay. Sorry, you said it fast and I said, oh, I have to think too much else. Wait, you said yes?
How should I word this? Basically, I want to say
Passion. Fire. I'm gonna go to the
turn that fire
into something productive.
It's gotta be. This needs to be a proper tweet.
Turn that fire into votes. Gotcha, boo. And once again, live stream you've seen, I really do write his tweets. You've seen it now live. Actually, maybe you didn't see it.
Thank
but
you,
I write his
Fod, for the
tweets.
$25 donation to Andrew Yang through theyanggame.com.
water? Yeah.
Are you sure that's it?
Yeah.
100%.
100%. We brought up the event number right here.
Oh.
Panda, Benny, do y'all have water in your car?
Oh, it worked out well, I think.
Water?
I think the city is traveling a lot more happy because of that. So it was a
Questionable model right there.
Yeah. Yank it out and throw it across the carpet.
Yeah, I used to be a groundskeeper. Garbage trash with my nemesis.
Yeah, I was my first job was groundskeeping.
Oh, yeah.
Our local Little League facilities. And you said it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was apartment rent.
Yeah, I involved with farm.
Oh, that's right. I'll get to the building bases and all that stuff.
I would
You do like top lines and all that stuff?
Okay, Los Angeles.
Way down, way back.
Yang? Gang. Let me see if we got more donations. Thank you, Brian, for the $5 donation. Andrew Yang. Thank you, Ruby. Another $10 donation from Ruby to Andrew Yang. Thank you, Cameron, for the $5 donation to Andrew Yang. Did I thank Fott for the $25 donation to Andrew Yang through theyangame.com. And thank you, Brian, for the $5 donation. I might have just said Brian's name. But it's late. Let me,
Okay.
thank you, Cameron, for the $5 donation to Andrew Yang. Let me call Darth Clyde. It's time to cut the string. Yang, gang, yang, yang, ready to cut the stream. Gang, 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 yang.